For all these families, these are a selection of the most popular ones. And we are adding Yara rules, we are updating config extractors. I would like to ask, are there any complexities around the analysis of rats, like when it comes to possibly the classification
Well,
and the timing?
I really think this highly depends on what rat you're talking about. I mean, you've picked up four of them here, and usually, I mean, that really depends, like things as NJ-rat, async-rat, cursor-rat, and similar ones, XWORM, I think, DC-rat, however they're being called. I mean, there's a big list of them. I think they are usually quite simple because I think they are, if I'm not mistaken, nearly all of them are actually from forked versions from a root one, basically. So they're all very similar, which actually introduces interesting challenges because if you really want to distinguish between those families, it's very challenging in writing proper Yara rules for them because we have seen that already sometimes that, for example, the async ret Yara maybe match on DC ret or vice versa, basically. So this is getting a bit more tricky. But on the other side, though, when it comes to extracting the malware's configuration, that actually is a bit easier then because all of them are actually following the same pattern and the same encryption logic. So that, yeah, it's sometimes it's easy, but it also introduces its unique challenges. And of course, I think one of the biggest challenge there as well is also keeping up with the forks. I mean, everyone can basically go to GitHub and look up them and create their own fork, make some adjustments, and maybe things are not going to work anymore as expected. So I think this is also one of the biggest challenges that we see with those leaked or published threads.
Yeah. Tony, by the way, I will come to your research in a minute, but to Patrick, I would like to follow up, especially when it comes to why rats. I mean, why is this, prevalence or
Well,
popularity we see? Is it because, do you think the role of them, I mean, the infected devices in DDoS attacks, for example, so it is kind of variety. So it is giving full access. It can be used in DDoS attacks.
yeah.
So would that be the
Well,
reason,
I
or
guess
do you
maybe.
expect any changes in the future, or the popularity will just be consistent?
Well, at least from my point, and I would then also like to maybe pass on to Tony because of his research that he did on Reds. But at least
Yeah,
from
we will come to
from
that.
everything connects to that basically. But at least from my point of view, I think the number of Reds that we see is definitely not going down. I think this is always there is a background noise and it's always quite active as well, anyways, because it has a lot of different use cases on why they basically use Red. So of course, one thing that you've mentioned is maybe abusing devices for DDoS. You can build your whole botnet with that. But basically, whenever you infect devices with remote access trojans, then you basically can control this device and you can use it at any time. So you can basically sell this access. You have this initial access brokers, I think they're being called. So they just focusing on trying to get into those machines and then selling the access there basically. But of course, you have also different approaches, as you've mentioned, with abusing those machines for DDoS attacks and similar stuff. So I do really not expect that this is going down. I would think that this is either staying the same or maybe even increase